Before which judge?
Before Justice Ami Diouf.
And it is the final judgment that led to your acquittal?
Yes, exactly.
Mr. Chair, we ask to exhibit this document as 127B. Should you accept the document? And there are few reports about your case. I have here an Observer newspaper which talks about your case, which indicates the type of charges you faced. And here it states that you were charged for being the accounting officer and entrusted with responsibility for distributing and selling 48,000 metric tons of fertilizer and 2,230 metric tons of urea. And you willfully or omitted or recklessly handled the proceeds or the material, thereby causing losses to the government to the tune of 6 million.
Yeah.
And the subsequent, yes. And the other charge is the loss of 1.5 million. Could you take a look at these two documents and confirm to us that whether those represents the charges that you faced?
Counsel, your request regarding the application and the judgment is granted.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. That would be Exhibit 127B. Could you take a look, Mr. Loum, Dr. Loum, yes, at those documents? Those are Fourier newspaper reports about the charges that you faced, the initial charge and possibly the amended charge.
Yeah.
Is that the case?
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
All right. Could you just read the particulars of the first charge, taking it from the middle of the page?
Okay, the charge is stated as permanent secretary of DOSA between April 2005 and December 2006, being the accounting officer and entrusted with the responsibility of distributing and selling 47,775 metric tons of NPK fertilizer and 2,229 metric tons of urea fertilizer, valued at $51,480,100. They willfully or by omission or recklessly handle and thereby cause losses to the government of the Gambia to the tune of $6,349,000.
So this is the charge you faced,
yes,
the initial stages. And the second document also reflects the amended charge, if I may call it that.
Yes.
And on that one, the discrepancy has now come down to
1 million.
1 million.
Yeah, 1,471,251.
So the difference between the two charges is money that's been recovered from those who were entrusted with direct responsibility for the sale of the fertilizer.
Exactly. That's why I said the charges, the amount keep on dwindling as they were recovering monies from the DACs.
So let's understand this. You were charged for something somebody else was responsible for.
Exactly. Exactly.
And their losses, then you were charged for their losses for as long as they did not reimburse the state.
Exactly. And strangely enough, the prosecution at one point was asking me to help them with the DAC so that they can pay the difference. That I did not understand.
So detain the permanent secretary or charge the permanent secretary, and the junior staff would cough up the money they stole.
Exactly. That was what was happening.
And how would you describe that?
Well, I would describe it as just gross injustice on the part of the state.
Gangsterism?
Said?
Gangsterism?
Well, that was the order of the day. Gangsterism was, manifested in various formats. I had the misfortune of working very closely with Jammeh for some period when I was his PS, and gangsterism was the order of the day.
Did you resign, Dr. Loum?
Did I resign?
Knowing that the government you served was headed by a gangster?
I did not resign because I thought that eventually this gangster will get his day in court. And I wasn't working for Yahya Jammeh. I was working for the government of the Gambia. I was there before Yahya Jammeh became president. So and ordinarily, I would leave Yahya Jammeh.
We are still waiting to see Yahya Jammeh in court.
It will happen. I don't know whether it will be during my period or not, but at least that is my hope.
Okay. Mr. Chair, the document dated 29 March 2007, showing the first charge, if you agree, Mr. Chair, to be admitted as Exhibit 127C, and the document reflecting the second charge dated 27 June, 25th June 2009, should be Exhibit 127D.
Council, these two documents are press accounts of the charges. They're not documents from the court or from anybody else.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Fine, thank you for that confirmation. Your request is granted.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So, Dr. Loum, these charges hung over your neck for 5 years. Ultimately, you were vindicated by the courts, you were acquitted and discharged. Were you able to now finally proceed on with your life unhindered?
No, unfortunately not. Immediately I was acquitted and discharged. I had an opportunity to go and work outside the Gambia, but I needed my passport. I applied.
Can you tell us about this opportunity? What was this opportunity?
Yeah, I was supposed to do some work for FAO in Sierra Leone and Liberia. I was supposed to prepare their national livestock sector review. And I had the opportunity. I was supposed to go and do the job. I respectfully applied to the Secretary General, who was then Joguba, to get my passport back. And I quoted the fact that I have been exonerated, I have been acquitted and discharged. And I wrote this letter to the head of state through the Secretary General, who was Joguba. Later, I had a reply saying that this passport belongs to the Gambia government, and that it was. The last paragraph of the letter was very contradictory. It said that I should address my request to the Minister of Interior after telling me that the passport belongs to the Gambia government.
Let's take the letters one by one.
Okay.
Tell us your first letter. When was it dated, who it was addressed to, and the gist of the letter?
It was dated 26 April 2012, addressed to the Secretary General, Office of the President. And basically, I was just informing the Secretary General that I have been acquitted at this charge and that I want them to give me back my passport.
And when did they reply? Excuse me, what is the date of your letter?
26 April 2012.
2012.
Yeah.
All right. When was their reply?
9th May 2012.
And what did they say? You can read their letter.
Okay.
Read it out.
Dr. Badara Loum is addressed to me, Kanifing Estate. Application for the return of my passport, that's the heading. I write on behalf of His Excellency, Sir Professor Dr. Yahya Jammeh, to acknowledge receipt of your letter dated 26 April 2012 on the above caption. His Excellency the President has asked me to accordingly convey to you that the passport is the property of the Gambia government, and you should therefore request the Minister of Interior to return your passport and not this office. So I could not see the connection anyway.
So did they give you back your passport?
They did not.
Mr. Chair, we asked to put these two documents as exhibits. The letter addressed to the Secretary General to be Exhibit 127D, sorry, E, excuse me, and the response from the SG as 127F.
Counsel, your request is granted. Witness, when they referred you to the Ministry of Interior, did you go to the ministry?
I did not. I know that I will be wasting my time. I did not bother because I was reminded in the first paragraph and in the first opening statement that the passport is the property of the Gambia government. So I knew that I would be wasting my time.
Well, indeed, the
you.
passport is the property of the Gambia government, but the Gambia government does not travel or has no use for that passport. It is to enable a Gambian citizen to use it. So really, it is the property of the government,
We all know.
but for use by a Gambian citizen and not for use by the government. So the government should have given it. Did you eventually manage to travel?
Yes, eventually I managed to travel because I had a friend who knew how to get passports legally or illegally. And he helped out. He told me, do you have any copy of your old passports? I gave him a very old passport that I had in my custody. And he went on the ground and he got me a passport. So I was smuggled across the border to take my flight from Dakar.
Well, be rest assured, Dr. Loum, that you would not be alone to have done that. Many people were denied
I know.
the opportunity to take international jobs, and they managed to be smuggled out of the country, and they took flights and left. So you were not alone to have done that.
I know.
But why did you choose to use that option?
Because the other option would have been to, I don't know, to forego, to decide not to take up the appointment, or to risk being arrested by Jammeh and his people. I could not have passed through the airport with that passport. I could not have. Because there might have been a watch list of people, you know, who have been denied passports or something like that.
Indeed. You left in 2012 to do this important job for FAO. Did you encounter any other problems with security officers when you returned to Gambia?
No, I did not. Although I was given a sort of a welcome I did not deserve by somebody I met on the flight, a friend I met on the flight, and when we got to Banjul, he went through VIP, I went through ordinary, and as I was trying to get my luggage, somebody looking like an NIA came to me and said, "Are you Dr. Loum?" I said, "Yes." He said, "Okay, please, you have to wait." I was wondering why I had to wait, but apparently my friend was asking for a lift so that I should take the person home, but I thought that it was the NIA trying to take me back to that was scary.
I can imagine. But thereafter, there were no other problems?
No.
All right. Okay. And but how do you feel about everything that has happened to you?
I feel that I was not fairly treated by the government, and by government here I mean the head of state. My career in the civil service was cut short by about 7 years, and for 5 years I was in limbo. I could not take up an appointment, I could not do anything useful, and I was sort of ostracized by society.
How about your family? How did they feel about this?
My family also was negatively impacted. One thing that really got me very annoyed, very mad, was my youngest daughter, who was then in grade 5 or grade 6 with Mrs. Ndau's school. One day, I think that the teacher, her classroom teacher, asked her, "Where is your dad?" And my daughter says, he traveled. He said, "No, you have to tell us exactly where your dad is. Is your dad not in prison?" Exactly. And my daughter said, she decided not to answer. But that was traumatic. And even when I was released, she told me the story. I told her, but the important thing is that eventually you will know, and you know that I was not involved in anything illegal. But it's only that I knew that you are not the type of person who involves yourself in illegal activities. And she was very young at that time. But thank God today, she's a career woman, and she is doing very well in life. I'm very happy about that.
Indeed, indeed. Mr. Chair, I have no further questions for Dr. Loum. He would have his opportunity to make a statement, but perhaps before I hand over, I just want you to say a few words about the colleagues with whom you were in prison.
Yes, I was with many people who were top civil servants in prison. One of them was Lamin Sane. People who know him as Lamin Sane C. He was an outstanding engineer. He designed the Westfield Birkama Highway and many bridges and culverts throughout this country. But he was also a gentleman. And I think the trauma that we faced in Mile 2, he could not really take it. And in the end, when he was released, he died shortly after his release.
You were so close, and you had such a bond with him. You even wrote a poem for and about him.
I did.
Would you want to share that?
Yes, please. I would want to, if the chairman would allow me. Thank you very much. It goes like this. Oh dear to a friend, lest we may forget, in memory of Lamin Sane C. Oh dear friend Lamin, I will forever mourn you. How can I forget the tough days eternity that we weathered through together at Mile 2? Humiliation, trepidation, consternation, and dismay. With egos deflated, shattered, battered, and bruised. Desperately clinging on to the tiniest thread of our challenged collective sanity, we subsisted through our ardent wish to survive and tell our story. Who can forget the night of forced arrival direct from the apparent luxury, relative comfort of our homes, to the dense days suffocating misconnect between reality and the figment of our warped, tattered imagination. I remember the relief I had on seeing you the morning after, and your welcome remarks. Boy, I'm sorry to see you here. It is a horrible place, but we must survive. The food here is horrible, terrible, and inedible. If you eat it, you may survive or perish. If you don't, you will die. Stripped of all our worldly possessions, aside from our intellect and resilience, you are a source of inspiration to us all. Lengthy period of enforced isolation provided fertile breeding ground for intellectual reflection and mental gymnastics. Despite the odds, we shared optimism, enthusiasm, and vision of our country's great future. I remember the long hours of heated intellectual exchange on issues as diverse as the works of Einstein, Homer, Christopher Okigbe, Stephen William Hawking, the nature of Doppler effect, entropy, algorithms, black holes and black energy, the Big Bang and the Big Crunch, artificial intelligence, that our incomprehensible incarceration afforded us. I remember also the maniac depressive chap with smelly camembert shoes you refer to as the village idiot, and the evil, shiny, slimy, skinny tin pot dictator we all call Pol Pot, who will only smile when locking up detainees, and the medic who requests us to spell abscess and leukocyte for him. A shining example of a specialist from the bankrupt health delivery outfit, to whom our collective health and survival were mortgaged to. Let us all pray to Allah to safeguard the health of all detainees at Mile 2, lest they fall prey to the machination, trials, and tribulations of the specialists. Oh Lamin, the only regret is that you did not live to witness the coalescing and gelling of our aspirations. And the final triumph of truth over ingenuity, over falsehood, over mediocrity and psychopathy. However, rest assured that we, the survivors from Mile 2, will tell our story and continue to cherish the absorbed moments we shared together, and pray that you rest in perfect peace, dear friend. So that was the poem. Thank you very much.
Wow. Very emotional.
Yeah, well, yeah, that is true.
And I can assure you that a lot of people who went through Mile 2 would probably feel the same way. I'm not so of the eloquence to put these words together,
You see,
but would definitely feel the same way.
That is true. You know, my problem is that I'm not really a poet. I'm a scientist. But I thought that at least maybe I can try and write something. And that was triggered this poem.
Well, you are of the Landry Peters mold. If you continue writing, perhaps you would have maybe not another Kachikali, but another Sindola. So thank you very much, Dr.
Thank you.
Loum, for this. I have no further questions, Mr. Chair. I would want to have this exhibited, because perhaps this is one of those things that can go into the TRRC museum as really one of the capturing of one's experiences at Mile 2. I think it's quite an important one. But Mr. Chair, with your permission, I'd ask to have it exhibited as 128G. 127G, rather.
Request granted, counsel. Witness, that was a splendid manifestation of intellectual capabilities.
Thank you, thank you.
Instead of the country using your abilities and your resolve to assist the country, they wasted your time, wasted the time of the country. For years, you were running around in circles. Sorry that you had to go through that. And it was a loss, not just for your family, but for the country as a whole.
Thank you.
Commissioners, if you have any questions, please indicate. Bishop, you have the floor, please.
Thank you, Chairman. Dr. Badara Loum, you did mention the diet that we have been served at the Mile 2 prison, and you once observed that the rice was laced with diesel. That's a very poisonous thing to give to any human being to consume. I wonder, how did you manage with such?
Yeah, thank you very much, Honorable Commissioner. That day I decided to forego my lunch. I said it's better to starve than to eat diesel. But I can assure you that I have seen people who had no choice. They were so hungry that they had to consume it, unfortunately.
The other thing you mentioned was that you had to, do the laundry. You had to wash your own blanket.
Yeah.
And apart from that, what of your clothes? How was it washed?
Yes, again, as I said, even in prison there are people who are really very helpful. The gentleman who was supposed to be an armed robber and he didn't know what armed robbery was the person who would help me and wash all my clothes for me. He would tell me, look, I know that you are not a criminal. Seeing you here is even an embarrassment to us. And he was responsible for washing all my clothes, my bedding and my blankets and my mosquito nets from time to time. I am also, indebted to him. Otherwise, I would have had to wash them myself.
And finally, you mentioned the Thursdays when whatever is slaughtered for the consumption of the inmates, and the prison wardens will go from shell to shell looking for plastic bags and that sort of thing. Now, how did they know that they could get plastic bags from the inmates in the shells?
Yeah. Eventually, when it was possible to get at least clothing from your family members from outside, they will put it in plastic bags and then you take it to your cell and you sign 2 shirts or 3 socks and things like that. So they know that you have this plastic bag in your cell, and the majority had. Sometimes those who are lucky enough are allowed to get provisions, and the provisions come in plastic bags. So they know the cells where plastic bags are, and they come around looking for them. so that they can have their share of the meat that was from the bull that was slaughtered. Thank you.
Thank you. Imam Jallo, you have the floor, please.
Dr. Loum, I'm very sorry for what happened to you.
Thank you.
But you said after your acquittal, did you get any benefits from government for the long service you had served this country? Thank you.
Yes, because I was not dismissed, my services were terminated. I was paid my gratuity and also I have a pension. But it was greatly reduced because, as I said, my service in the government was cut short by 7 years. So if I had retired due to reaching the statutory retirement age, of course, then the package would have been better.
Thank you very much. Dr. Loum, if you have any concluding remarks to make, please proceed to do so.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, honorable commissioners, lead consul and all other consuls, ladies and gentlemen, my family members and so forth, friends, I wish to express my sincere gratitude to the TRRC for according me the opportunity to share with you and by extension the wider public the experience I lived through during the most trying times of my life. As a nation, we lived through horrendous human rights violations unleashed by Yahya Jammeh and his gang of thugs against civil servants and other ordinary Gambians. As I said earlier, to set the record straight, as civil servants, we did not work for Yahya Jammeh, but rather we serve our country as career professionals with no political affiliations. My career in the civil service spanned over a period of 3 decades. Thus, in the early days, I had the opportunity to work in a public service that was once rated among the best in Africa. Unfortunately, I also witnessed the process during which the institution was degraded beyond recognition. Core principles, considerations, and values were eroded, and appointments were no longer based on merit, qualification, experience, or competence, but rather on political affiliations, nepotism, and psychopathy. As a country, if we wish to forge ahead and join the community of nations that are making strides and headways towards meaningful progress, then there must be a paradigm shift towards the following: carrying out key reforms in the civil service, the security sector, including the horrible prisons, the judiciary that will allow for speedy trials, but also just dispensation of justice, limiting the power of the executive in the new constitution to avoid repetition of the excesses of the former regime. In this regard, appointment of judges, head of parastatals, and SOEs should be subjected to a confirmation process with the National Assembly taking a leading role. The hiring and firing of top executives, and indeed all public servants should follow due process and diligence. There is need to invest in development of human capital, infrastructure, the utilities, communication, and high-speed internet connectivity, which of course should be regulated by PURA. And there is also need to invest in agriculture and other productive sectors of the economy. With the advent of the new regime, an unprecedented opportunity is presented to us to correct the transgressions that were made in the past and set new standards that are aligned with best practices, while simultaneously ensuring that mistakes are not repeated. Unfortunately, telltale signs of position of people in power and entrusted with persons in power and entrusted with privileges are flouting them with impunity to the detriment of the nation are beginning to re-emerge. I will give you an example. Till recently, I was the chairman of the board of directors of the Food Safety and Quality Authority. I had to resign after 6 months because I had decided that I will never be a party to an illegal process that contravenes set laws, principles, and guidelines. It is no longer tenable for a whole nation to be held hostage by an individual, such as the likes of Yahya Jammeh, who undoubtedly suffered from inferiority complex compounded by megalomania and a rabid hatred of Gambians, particularly intellectuals, and those who excel in their various vocations. In conclusion, I wish to thank my wife, a remarkable woman who dared to challenge the dictatorship when no one else had the nerve to do so. When I was incarcerated in Mile 2, She approached many of the leading lawyers in this country to help set me free. Most of them advised her to wait, and that if she proceeded with any legal action against the state, then Yaya Jammeh will be very angry, and he can do anything to me. However, one outstanding woman thought differently. When my wife approached lawyer Ami Bensouda, she wholeheartedly supported her and told her that that was the only option that can trigger action by the state. Lawyer Bensouda was the only one among the many approached by my wife who accepted the scary challenge at the time and took on the ruthless dictator head on. Together with her formidable associate, lawyer Hadidande Jabi, the current deputy lead counsel of the TRRC, against all odds, they were able to secure a court order that released me from jail. I was surprised to see that lawyer Ami Bensouda personally marched into Mile 2 and processed the papers for my release and drove me in her private vehicle from Mile 2 to Banjul. As predicted by lawyer Bensouda, my release indeed triggered an avalanche of many lawsuits from other detainees seeking to end their unlawful incarceration in Mile 2. Once I was charged with economic crimes, I was extremely opportune for my wife to secure the services of lawyer Lamin Kamara, who was her former colleague. Without hesitation, I can safely say that Lamin Kamara is indeed one of the best criminal lawyers in this country. For a period of 5 years, Lamin Kamara relentlessly pursued my case in the High Court until I was acquitted and discharged. Astonishingly, during this period of 5 years, he was never late nor absent for a single court sitting. My family and we remain forever grateful to these lawyers who were just phenomenal. Although I cannot name all the family members, friends, relatives, and professional colleagues who jointly made my ordeal bearable, I have to make reference to some of them, like my late brother and sister, Lamin and Basil Loum, both of blessed memory, the Lumen family in the Gambia and the diaspora, my uncle Seho Omar Toure, my mother-in-law, Ajindai Seka of blessed memory, friends like Usman Sow, formerly of the Central Bank, Modu Sise of GHE, Dr. Suleiman Sonko, and many other professional colleagues, the entire membership of Vu Master Silla of Game Senegal Street. As president of the Gambia Veterinary Medical Association, I am extremely grateful to the entire membership of the GVMA and also colleagues in the Ministry of Agriculture, the Department of Livestock Services, the Department of Agriculture, and the National Agricultural Research Institute for their formidable support when it was most needed. They all stood by me through thick and thin, and only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can adequately reward them. I thank you all for your attention. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed, Dr. Loum, for those concluding remarks. We will take a 30-minute break and come back at 5 minutes past noon. Meeting is adjourned.
ñoo ñëw ak yéen rek Skincare Plus nara jàkkaarloo ak yéen waxtaan ak yéen tuuti rek si suñu tube suñu baax emuñ rek ci ay diw waaye comme ni ngeen ko xamee rek dañoo yëngu ci ay cuub te yënguwuñ nag si just any cuub suñ cuub bu nekk 5 star jesna la 5 star jesna mooy jesna bi gën a pire moom la ñoo cuub palmaan bi gën a fort moom la ñoo liggéeyee buñ demee Bamako ñun duñ dem ci marché bi rek buub indi déedéet dañ leen a jox suñu specs ne lañ nii lañ ko buggee nay lañ ko buggee fóot bi nangami fóot lañ bugga pour mu mun a set waaw cuubi skin care déedéet doo ko sol mu di la taxa all over the place ci gàttal ñun rek si cuub dara du doy day des not only dañoo cuub but bu la neexee ñu cuubal la ba pare nag ñawal la ñaw fi mu gën a setee nag rek la ñoo fulee ñetti ñawkat lañ am nañ ñawkati simple nga xam ne xoppati rek mbaa def sa taille basse def sa dagit def sa roba amul benn dawme am nañ koo xam ne moo ñoo dawme jigéen den am nañ tamit special ñawkat boo xam ne ñawi góor rek la ñoo defal nga bugg sa his and hers muy korité muy tobaski mbaa muy ngénte muy takka mbaa nga bugg rek def sa yëkka bu baax a baax daagul ba ñëw Skin Care Plus ñu dimbali la tànnal la cuub fam gën a baaxee ndax sa yëkka gën a foor lii nga ne lan xoolal bi takka la Skin Care fii la fu léegi yéen tey we're not all about skin we are skin care and the plus does come in so many different ways. Cubantu wuñ de dañ cub bam saf-saf
Miss B Designer Outlet is the #1 quality and affordable stop shop for all your needs. Get your evening dresses, suit and ties, office wears for both ladies and gentlemen, beach wears, sport wears, pure leather shoes for men, quality belts, bags, heels for all beautiful ladies, original perfumes, accessories, and a lot more. Find us at Kololini Road, opposite Gaddafi Mosque at the Aqua Preacher Station. Or call us on 295-3411 or 764-2486. Miss B Designer Outlet. Shop right, look good.
Do you live abroad and want to build your dream home in the Gambia without risking your funds and family ties? Do you want a household name that is trustworthy and efficient? A name that will continue to give you updates on the project from the beginning to the very end with videos and pictures? If your answer is yes, then worry no more. Boss Construction and Asset Management is here for you. If you live outside the Gambia and want to build your dream home, then this is ideal for you. Just reach out to Boss Construction and let's start building the dream home into a reality. With Boss Construction, the difference is clear. We give you value for money. Some of our services includes the following: construction management, building equipment rentals, rent management, purchase and leasing, asset management, and many more. For more information, please contact 282-4945. Better still, send us an email, bossgambia@gmail.com, or you can also visit our website on www.bossgambia.com. Boss Construction, a name you can trust. Boss Construction and Asset Management, keeping families together.
No, ini bara. Welcome. Basically, lot of lala me along is cool, man. That I can really relax. What the madam? Yeah, what the madam? Yeah. Let them do somebody. That's right. Grand Villa. That's fine. Slowly. Yes. No. Yeah, actually, a lot of people are basically me alone because they relax. So it's always like that. I can understand. Nina Fanny say what? Nidia, Nena Grand Villa is the best guest house in the Gambia.
Beji andikam Grand Villa Guest House. Na labungul bebe senyaring adum na bungul bebe nyarandiring coming ibela fila ila suwe taranyame. Until Grand Villa na kiliano la lafino wale mukanwatin telkang. Na ye sabati Grand Villa yela kodo na fa kalamuta.
Oh man, this is like a paradise. I know. I so much love this place. Yeah, thank you. Trust me, I love this place.
You can move someone and you're watching one. How to jump and know to Gambia. Grand Villa.
I tell you. I love this place. Okay. I love this place, man. Oh yeah.
Ni lefta na kuo keso sotola. Futama Oljuntum Paradise Estate. Mbaya kumandiroke 7527-218. Wale futana website auto www.grandvillaguesthouse.com. Grand Villa Guest House.